adding some color and some layout to our Google Sheets. I know we are really in the basics, and I said that for this first week. I want you to be thinking about how you format your data and how you can make Google Sheets work for you as a teacher. It's not always just about crunching numbers. Sometimes you can use it for a layout guide. And so hopefully you get some inspiration and some new things from looking at this lesson. We're going to look at some colors and layouts and borders, and then we're going to talk about adding some images and printing. So then you can go on and do your assignment for this week for your classroom. So we're going to get started here. I'm going to try to set this up to be like a planner for myself, where I could have like a digital planner. Maybe I could have this sheet created and then have different tabs of each week and be able to fill it out and have it be my actual teacher planner. I've done that before, and I've really liked the way that you can add information in each of the cells. You can paste text in there, you can have links, images, and lots of things. So we're just going to walk through how you would set this up to be formatted like something you could use for a planner. So the first thing I would notice is this square right here, where it's going to be my interactive media class. It's going to be Monday. All these squares in here need to be bigger. I can't write or have my information in there. So I'm going to select the Monday through the next week option here, and I'm going to stretch down, acting like I'm going to increase just one of the boxes. And because I have all of those rows selected, it's going to increase the size of every one of them because I selected using the rows. And that's something that you can utilize that way to make each of them bigger at the same time. And then I think I want my titles to be a little bit bigger here too. And we talked about how we could format these to be centered up and down. So I'm going to go over here to vertical alignment and put those in the center. Probably want to make my titles bold, and we're going to add some color here in just a second too. Irish Tech and Irish Ink are a class I have together, so I want those in one, and it kind of cuts it off. And so I have two different options here. I can double click, stretch that out, and have it fill. Or if I wanted it to be smaller, same with computer programming, it's kind of big too, I could have these text wrap. And so I can highlight all of these, and text wrap is going to force a return or force your text to go down a level. So right here is my text wrapping. This is really helpful anytime I get responses from kids in a Google from a Google form and there are a lot of text. Sometimes you have to turn on that text wrapping so you can see your information. So if I click here and go to this second option right here and wrap text, it's going to pull my titles so that they wrap down. And so then now I can center them across, and I still don't love how this one right here is formatted. And so here is a tip that you need to remember: to force a return in an Excel or Google sheet, you cannot double click in here and just hit return. That will take you to the next cell. But if you come in here right before that and sign and hold down Option or Alt on a PC and then hit return, it will allow you to type in that cell and have those spaces. And so I use that a lot if I was going to come in here and make lesson plans, and let's say I want to type like, activity 1, and then I want to do option, return, and then quiz. And I have that ability to space it out now because I'm using that key. So something to remember, just a tip that I utilize all the time that not everybody knows how to do. Okay, so now I have my titles a little bit better here, and fix my notes. I don't want that S to wrap. And so then I thought it might be really neat, instead of having my words take up so much space, I wanted them to go up and down or kind of rotate them. And you can do that very easily with your text. This A tool right here that I'm highlighting will allow me to rotate my text. So I can do it slanted, or I can do it up and down, and I think my video's covering up the one I want. So I can make them go up and down, and then now I can center them up and down that way, and then now this column can go be a lot smaller and not be so noticeable. It can just be my days of the week there. And so those are just some tips that hopefully that'll allow you to organize things or change things up how you want, now that you know that you could do that. And then now, if I were really going to utilize this, I would want to highlight all of the areas that I know I'm going to utilize and give them a border. And right here is my borders. I know that you have these gray lines everywhere. Those are called grid lines. Those are a part of your spreadsheet. Borders are going to allow your page to stand out, and then when you go to print, the borders are going to really print better than a grid line would print. And so I can come right here, and then this is going to give me all borders. So everything I have highlighted is going to be a border, the thickness or the color black, and then the thickness that I choose here. So right now it's just on the standard one. So I'm going to click this one. It's going to give me a border on every single one of my cells here. Probably make my notes a little bit bigger. And so you can utilize that. Let's say I did not want the entire thing to have the grid lines and I wanted to get rid of all of them in here. I could highlight this section, go here, and then just go to the blank grid lines, but that will take away any area that has a grid line that I have selected. So something to think about, but now maybe I could come in here and these grid lines, I could do like a border all the way around the outside and then make it really thick. So I'm going to come over here. Oh, lost my setting there. I'm going to go here and go to the thicker option and then push this outer border. And so now you can see I've made a thicker border around the selection I wanted. So something you can utilize if you're trying to make different sections or want to separate things out. I know I utilize some of these side ones a lot when I'm actually doing data and numbers and I want to show like a calculation. I might use that top one so you can see where I'm going to sum my data. So that's a top border one that's very useful for that. And we'll probably utilize that more when we start getting into numbers and formulas. Other things that you can do obviously is color and adding shading. And so I could have these headings be a different color. So this one right here is my text color. And so I can go here and now these are my colors. And so I might just pick a different color for each one of these. And I can kind of go, this is like a rainbow color scheme as you go across. And so I'm kind of going backwards rainbow here. And so then now those are all shaded to be a different title. You could shade all these to be different colors. Maybe you have different colored days for your block days or different things like that. So you could have your colors and shading very easy with the fill bucket here. And then again here, excuse me, sorry. That's your text color. So if I wanted to make these be a darker color, I might come in here and do like the dark blue, and then it would be fun to do like a white text for those titles. So something that I definitely utilize the dark backgrounds with white text sometimes when doing that formatting. So I know that didn't get 100% finished, but I wanted to show you some of those features when it comes to rotating your text, adding the borders, and then being able to increase the size and fit them to the way you want. So I'm going to skip over here to another tab. These are all my different tabs. So we are in one big Google Sheet, and then each of these are pages. So this is the one we worked on yesterday. Right now I'm in this colors and layouts one, and I'm going to go over here to this images one. So I'm going to talk about adding images here and printing. But real quick, if you double click, you can rename any of your tabs down here. And so you can give them a different name. And then another thing you can do is if you right click, you can give your sheets colors. So if you need to highlight one for different days of the week or different teachers to look at, you can actually give them a color and they will show at the bottom there that that's highlighted in a different color. You can duplicate pages. So if you were to set up a plan book and you have a week that you like to have it set up perfectly, you can just copy and paste that. You just right click here and duplicate, and you can utilize that more often or have like a template that you use with that. So that is something that I am so sorry utilize when I am in Google Sheets a lot. This is a class schedule that I have set up or that I've utilized before, and I just wanted to show you how you can add images and show you something that happens to people that's very frustrating when it comes to adding images. I have a cell selected here. I want an image. A lot of times we are so used to dragging and dropping our images, and so that's something I'm going to go to my downloads. I have a picture of a computer. I'm going to throw it in here, and it's going to take the computer and make it the full screen of my Safari. And so that's so frustrating. I think people think that they've messed something up. All you have to do is hit the back button. But I'm going to get into my spreadsheet here and be like, why can't I get that picture to go in there? Well, it's a spreadsheet. It's not a document. So we have to insert it using the Google options to do that. So I'm going to go to insert and then image, and you have two options. You can insert it into the cell you have selected, or you can insert it over the cells, and I'll show you the difference. So if I insert it in the cell and then I get my option, I'll be able to drag and drop my picture in here this way. Drag it here, if I put it in the cell, it's going to only be in that cell, and that's the only place it'll be. It kind of lives in there. It's not going to move or change, except or if I would resize that cell. And so I'm so sorry. Hold on, I'm in my classroom. Our lights go off when I'm working in here by myself. And so that is going to allow me to resize and only work with that image in here. Now I think I should be able to come in here and center it just like I would text, up and down, and horizontal and vertical. So I should be able to do both of those options there. And that's when you put the image inside of a cell. So now let's click over the outside and go to insert image over cells and get that. I'm going to get that same image. And now this image I can float. And so definitely something you might utilize a little bit more if you can move them around and have it be exactly where you want it to be on your page. And so that's kind of a nice thing. This would be more locked in and be static there for all of your projects. So I'm going to take this one off and then talk about how we are going to print this. So currently right now, all of these cells down here have borders, and I can see that they're black borders. These are my grid lines out here. There's some grid lines up here. There's no borders around here. And I'm going to show you the difference when you go to print. So if I just do File, Print, or Command Print in my Google Sheet, I'm going to move me out of the way here. And then I'm going to see that my borders are black, and then I have these really light gray grid lines. And then it split up my table really weird. I have to go over here and mess with these settings. You cannot go file print on a Google Sheet and expect it to just work perfectly. You've got to look at your settings. So I definitely want to do a portrait piece of paper. I want to do an up and down tall piece of paper. And that already helped my table look better, but it does not fit on a page. Well, right here, the scale, we're fitting it to the width. We could fit it to the height, but most of the time I like to hit fit to page, and then it's going to force the size that fits on a piece of paper. And then I can increase or decrease my margins, that space around the edges, so that you can fit as much as possible on a piece of paper. And then here under formatting, that's where we can take off those light gray grid lines. These grid lines that are up here that aren't a part of the borders that we specifically added. If I uncheck that, so then now that looks more like a title and I'm getting just the borders that I wanted. And this might be really something you utilize for worksheets or just different ways to lay out information. So that's something I wanted to show you. Down here you can center not only horizontally on your page, but you can also center up and down just like we did in our cells. And so sometimes that's nice. If you have a smaller chart, you can actually get it centered on the page. Here you can add page numbers, your title, sheet name, anything to the header or the footer of your document as well. So that might be something if you wanted to make sure you got the current date when you printed this out, you can have that automatically added to your page. And then when you hit next, it's going to download your spreadsheet as a PDF. It's going to open up as a PDF now that you could print there from this. And so I know if you use Google Docs and the Google products, you're usually aware of that. It's not going to print right away. It's going to be a PDF. I think in Chrome, it's maybe one step a little bit different. I'm in Safari, and so it actually gives me the PDF downloaded. I think Chrome might leave the PDF in your screen, and then you can print from there. So hopefully that shows you how you can create different layouts and ways of using Google Sheets to create some things that would be useful for you or your students. And so that is your assignment for the week, is to create something for your classroom for maybe that first week of your class that you utilize the shading, the alignment, and all of those things that you can do for your class that would help you.